Hi guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be discussing about Bharat wire ropes. So let's first understand the business model, right? So you would have seen, right? You would have probably when you're traveling around, you would have seen this hanging bridge where they use the ropes, to give that structural support. Or you would have seen in these oil refineries, yeah, petrochemical industries, where they are far away from the shore. They use this heavy ropes and wires, to pull something back, or whether it is in your lift or your elevator that you call it. There is that rope. You can see that rope, right, as the elevator goes up and down, right? These are the kind of wires and ropes that Bharat Wire does. Okay, Bharat Wire ropes does, BWR. Okay, so this is their business model. So of course, just if you want to learn in detail, just go to the business analysis part of the playlist. Today I'm just going to be covering the Q2 FY24 update. Okay, so we will see what has been happening with this company. Okay, if you see, first thing to highlight is, if you can't compare on a QOQ basis, क्योंकि QOQ basis में क्या होता है, Q2 is usually monsoon season, so most of the construction companies that are there, all these companies that are working ashore, working onshore, what will happen? They will shut down their operations, right? So इसके वजह से the sales is a bit plummeted in this quarter, right? Majority of the sales H2 में होता है, around 60% of the total year का sale happens in H2, especially Q3 and Q4. Q4 is the best for this industry, and Q2 is a leanest quarter for this industry. अगर आप top line का देखते हो, top line has grown by 6.4% on a year-on-year basis, and PAT, if you see, you will see that the PAT has grown by whooping 60%. ठीक है? So here is the thing, and even if you see PAT margin has increased by 50% from last year to this year. Last year it was 10%, and this year it is 15.3%. Now, first thing to note down is, if this huge boost in PAT जो आया है, ये कहाँ से आया है, right? Because now that you see all these raw materials for this wires and rope that they're using is steel and aluminium, right? All these heavy metals that they use. Over the last year, you saw that the price of this material increased like crazy, and now the price of the materials has fallen down, right? So, right, what are they doing? They're getting this advantage of raw material expansion. Okay, as a result, because of this, the PAT has been growing, not because that they're doing more sales, not because the sales has increased, let's say, by the volume has increased, but they're getting this expansion only because of this raw material cutting, nothing else. So it is, here is the thing, that how long will you be able to extrapolate this margin expansion आपको raw material से मिलता है? One day it will be normalized, one quarter, right? Because the base becomes so huge, after a certain point of time it will be normalized. So ultimately जो भी आपका PAT आता है, it should come by increase in sales, not by increase due to, not by decrease or fall in raw material prices. So that is one thing. जो भी आप PAT का देख रहे हो, उसका आप you understand. The next thing is, in terms of it, what is important here is volume growth and value growth. क्योंकि pricing में तो उनका उतना, how do I tell you, they do not have that hand, because no matter what the price revision they take, they'll have to like go back and forth with it, right? And it's clear these kind of companies that, if you see, they're going more towards value added product, because value added products में margins भी ज़्यादा होते हैं. Why? Because the price is more. If you look at the volume growth has been 11%. ठीक है? Last quarter अगर आप देखते हो, Q1 में the volume growth was 15%. And along with last quarter, if you see in Q1 FY24, the volume growth was 15%, and they got a 6% of price hike they had taken, because again, the same thing, raw material and other things also, 6% ka price hike. That is why you saw that the top line was around 20%. But this time, what happened? Since the raw material prices are falling, they can't take a price hike. Now, of course, the customers will be like, why are you taking a price hike? Because materials तो अभी उनका price तो घट रहा है, so they don't have the liberty to take price. So वहाँ पे value growth तो चला गया, and on top of that, Q2 जो monsoon का season है, the volume growth also has come down from 15 to 11%. That is why you're seeing कि like what जो top line का growth है, it is hardly merely 6.3%, versus last time I think it was 18% at all. ठीक है? So volume growth is 11%. अगर आप देखते हो, margins तो बड़ा ही है. EBITDA margins अगर आप देखते हो, 21% से 26% हुआ है. Now, of course, there are three things coming into these things. One is raw material ka price घटा है. Second is these people put up their own solar power plant in last year. So as a result, I think the fuel and the energy prices that are there. That has been reduced by 25 or 50%. You can just go and check in the last con call. They have mentioned this. So because of that also they're getting this advantage. And the last one is in terms of agar aapka margins improvement ho raha hai. Earlier what had happened was these people did not have enough money for working capital. Okay? So what they would do, they would take some advance from their customers. Okay, like if let's say someone is ordering 100 tons of wire and rope, they'll tell them you pay us more in advance and we will give you let's say 5 to 10% of discount. Okay? उसके वजह से they could have, because even if I have to get the order ready first, I have to buy the raw materials and everything, right, for these people. So as a result क्या हुआ, वहाँ पे थोड़ा margins का compression हो गया, because effectively what has happened is because you're giving a 5% discount to your customers, आपका value growth से जो आ रहा था growth वो चला गया, right? But now what has happened, their working capital has improved. They're no longer providing that discount in terms of like advance leke, if the customer gives more advance, these people give better discount. That is no longer there. That policy is no longer there. So combination of three factors, all in all the three factors has improved the margin from 21 to 26%. Okay. The last thing I would like to highlight is one of the important thing is अगर आप देखते हो इनका yeah, in terms of volume, another thing I would like to tell, in Q1 they did a see the volume target for the full year is 45,000 tons. ठीक है, अगर आप Q1 और Q2 का combine करते, Q1 was around 9,600 tons and Q2 was around 10,500 tons. So approximately 20,000 tons to H1 में हुआ है. So they have left is another 25,000 tons. That is the target for them to be completed by this year. That is FY24. ठीक है, and the volume growth it will be increased by 10%, like again more in the next year, some that this is what they're targeting. The another thing is here is like the order book job dekhte ho, order book, see if you would have seen any, agar aap aaj manufacturing sector ke baat kar rahe ho, there is so much demand, right? Aap kisi ka bhi manufacturing ka con call, company ka con call उठा के पढ़ लो, you will see that. So why is that, over the last quarter or the quarter before that, every time you're seeing कि like भारत वायर का order book जो है वो सिर्फ visibility होता है next 3 months का, and the other thing is उनका जो order book है, it will only be around 150 to 200 crores in that only. ठीक है, so why is that the case? Like in spite of having this good demand, why are they not able to increase the order book and everything? Is because one, there is no capacity here, right? Because whatever capacity they have, they can only do it for 150 to 200 crore. That is one of the reason. The second thing is, if they do not want to, like let's say if they promise somebody okay, like if they take more orders and they promise, and because there is no capacity and they won't be able to do it, kya hota hai, the reputation of this company will go in front of the customers, right? And word of mouth, of course. And here and all, if you see all the client addition and everything happens is through word of mouth, and because it's so difficult to add a client, the entire process of from meeting a client, adding a client, and getting that first request for quotation will take sometimes even up to 5 to 6 years. So they cannot take that risk. As a result, that is why always you see that the company order book is in this range. Now you might ask me like, why can't they increase the capacity and increase the order book as a result? You would have all seen like this entire industry jo hai, especially jo bhi ho, Bharat Wire, DP Wire, Usha Martin, these people did a lot of capex back in 2018 2019 and in those years. Then what happened, cycle ghum gaya, uske wajah se first of all COVID aa gaya, then cycle ghum gaya, they went to a lot of debt because now they have a plant but they do not have orders. So a lot of these companies went through a lot of debt, a lot of problem where they had to declare even bankruptcy. Okay. And then the government had to intervene in between, and they had to do, they had to build a debt restructuring plan for all of these people. So right now they could, whatever the money that is there, if you see, even if you go to their cash flows and see, majority of the money is going to repayment of long-term borrowings. So abhi kya hoga, let's say if they have to go forward and do a capacity increase, then whatever they have to do is it has to be fueled by debt, and they no longer have the debt option because of the fiasco that happened, right? Because right now their main priority is to build a good reputation and clear this debt. That is the reason they are like hands are tied. One way they can't do the capacity, the other way there is a limit to whatever they can cater to with the capacity that they have. That is that is the reason. Okay. The other thing is in terms of agar aap dekho, in terms of demand, which is the most important thing, you see, first of all, the company believes that they can replicate the growth that they did last year because there is a good environment even in the domestic market that is aided by government policies. Okay. The only risk here remains yes, of course, the elections, because one thing is 6 months before the elections, even I think even ACE told us the same thing ki kya hota hai, 6 months election se pehle no people take the tenders or the orders from the government. That is number one, because they're scared that in case the government changes, then all of these this construction plan, the infrastructure plan that is there will get, will no longer prolong with the new government that comes in. If there is another political party that comes in than the existing one, then it will change, and all the, they will go into a loss. So because of that, there could be a possible, possible slowdown, not for sure. It is something that is, you have to look forward in H2 and see. And not only that, H2 is a great quarter for great quarters for these companies. So that is one thing. In terms of Europe, in Europe, if you see, there is a bit of slowdown that has been that this company has been experiencing. Like they feel, there is, in terms of infra, there is a bit slowdown. But having said that, the company is very diverse. They are I think right now into, they're present in 55 countries, and they want to take it up to 85 countries. So as a result, the Europe impact is not that much. And plus nowadays they're concentrating a lot more in the US, because US में आपका, ये जो भी वायर एंड रोप, ये तो ज्यादा से ज्यादा यूएस में ही लगता है, ठीक है. And that is where majority of the sales are also coming from. That is where their focus is, ठीक है. And also they're moving into Asia, especially to the regions of GCC countries, where a lot of infra and, all these construction projects are happening, ठीक है. The another thing is like, अगर वो US में है, a lot of people have this fear of recession and other things. But here is the thing, right? यहाँ पे ज्यादा से ज्यादा वायर लगता है आपका एलिवेटर से रोप में. कल अगर रिसेशन आए ना आए, इकोनॉमिक स्लो डाउन है, nobody will stop from replacing the elevator ka wire, right? Because you will have to go up and down in that building. That is always given. So as a result, that is something that they do not worry about in terms. They do not see an impact over there. Okay? There is no impact of recession over there. And like I told you, 60 to 65% of the ropes जो उनका है वो replacement vertical में आते हैं. जो replacement vertical है वो ज्यादा से ज्यादा वो elevator वैसा में आता है, ठीक है. So other than that, there is no, how do I tell you, there is no impact. Only thing is in Europe जो है, there is a bit of slowdown, and वहां से 20 to 30% of volumes आता है, which they believe is not, again, not much of a great impact, ठीक है. Other than that, the guidance remains the same. They plan to achieve somewhere between 15 to 20% of top line, while maintaining a margin of around 22%, 22 to 23%, but already they are at EBITDA margin of 26%, okay. And the other thing is they're moving more and more to stainless steel wires and high value added products, ठीक है, because यहाँ पे तो margins और भी ज्यादा है. Like for example, if a normal wire and rope is selling for, let's say, 200 INR bundle, this can get sold up to 400 to 600, ठीक है. So that is why they want to move more and more there. I think as of now, if you look at the entire stainless steel wire rope जो है, it contributes around 1 to 2% of the total revenue, ठीक है. So this is one category where they want to, change and get a product mix here, okay. And so that is one thing. The other value added products that is there, it used to be in single digit last year, low single digit, and right now it is in low double digit. So probably it must be in like probably 5 to 7 to right now at 11%. So overall there, that entire value added product segment is doing well. The only thing remains one is that the volume growth, right? Because I know on a quarter on quarter basis it is not comparable, जो भी बोलो, क्योंकि last quarter 15 था, इस बार 11 था. I understand there is a seasonality and other things, but having said that, it becomes very very critical for these kind of companies, because the entirety of the result is dependent here on the volume growth, okay. So it becomes very important for them to buckle up and get that, other half of the volume growth, the target that is there for 45,000 tons. So this is something they have to do. The other things in terms of valuations, of course, it is not something that is very cheap. Any cyclical stock buying at this, it is a kind of a double-edged sword. If the demand continues and everything, of course, if the business continues to do well, then of course, the stock also will be a reflection of that. But having said that, let's say agar koi bhi, if at any time, let's say the growth alters, right, and then of course it will also be reflected again, like at the same time the same valuation can completely wipe your wealth off. So this is something to be cautioned and wary about. Other than that, nothing, all good. Only thing is next quarter we need to continue to track and see if the volume growth that is there is coming back up to the mark, right, up to that 15% volume growth, if it is able to do in Q3 and followed by Q4. So that's it about BWR, and see you tomorrow. Bye.